Hey, Cosmic Witches, and welcome back to the Divine Gossip Girls podcast. Thank you for tuning in to your November forecast. These are some of our most listened to episodes, our forecast every single month, and we love creating them for you guys. So thank you for tuning into them. And if you do enjoy, please feel free to share how they resonate with you through a review or through just DMing us or letting us know on your stories so that we can get the word about these forecasts out and about to reach more and more people. And if you want to tap more into our energy throughout the months and you want to join Maggie, Sophie, and I for some lives and some workshops, then definitely follow us on our new Instagram account that we recently created. It's called therituel.co. We'll be having the link to it below, but in there, we're just going to be sharing with you guys some spiritual, cosmic support every single week. We're going to be going live every month doing a little workshop that works with the energy that we're currently moving through. And yeah, so make sure that you follow us on there. We want to get that community growing as well. And hopefully we'll be posting more podcast content as well. So that is all I have for you guys. Oh, and one more thing before we dive in. If you guys have any spiritual wellness, mindset related, spiritual awakening related questions, then please, please, please send them through with the email below. You can just go ahead and send whatever question you have to the email. It will be kept completely anonymous, but we want to create more Gossip Girl Divine Hotline question and answer kind of podcast where we will answer your questions. So feel free to share a question below. Sophie is laughing at me right now. You guys, my throat chakra is not currently working.
Gossip Girl Divine.
I'm trying
We've
my
changed the
darn hardest
title.
with this intro.
Divine.
Gossip Girl Divine Hotline. Anywho, let's go ahead and dive on into this forecast and tap into the energy of November.
Hey Cosmic Witches! Divine Gossip Girls here, your one and only source into the spiritual happenings of the cosmos.
Ever wonder what this month's energy will have in store for you? What the planets and stars are even up to? Or if the universe can just help you catch a break already?
Well, lucky you, because we have all the spiritual secrets to tell. Get ready to sip on your weekly dose of divine tea. All right, loves, let's talk about the energy of November. So all year long, I have been talking about November. I don't know what it is. Well, now I know what it is because we're approaching and I've tapped into the energy. But I was like, something about November, right? 2024 has been such a big year of, I feel like it's been a very humbling year. We've been humbled greatly by the universe, being slapped around the face, thrown side to side, dragged through the mud. And for me personally, I resisted a lot of what I was moving through for a good portion of the year. But it taught me so much about myself and what I need to release so that I can step into this new version of me. And as I'm tapping into the energy of November, I realized that November is kind of like our gateway, our rite of passage into this version of ourselves that we are meant to step into. And so I'm going to give you guys the overall theme of this with tarot, a few tarot cards that I pulled, and then we're going to dive into 3 messages that came through in regards to the energy of November. So we'll start off with the overall collective theme before I have you guys tap into your intuition and pick which theme's calling out to you. But the overall theme that came through was with 3 tarot cards, and they were all major arcana cards, you guys. So watch out because we've got some potent energy coming through here. But the first card that made its way was the Judgment card, and it was in reverse, as well as the Hierophant in reverse. And then we had the Queen of Pentacles as well. So with the Judgment and the Hierophant coming in, Hierophant is all about stepping into the new, stepping into something that is kind of breaking out of tradition, breaking out of the norm. And it makes a lot of sense because as I was channeling this message, what I got was like, I almost saw this big, bright white light and kind of like this path that was in front. And I just saw someone like walking forward on this path, but there was kind of like a, like a blizzard going on. So you couldn't really see what was happening. And so it was like, you're stepping right and left with a lot of just like you're doing it just based off of your intuition. You're kind of following your heart, but you're like, what the F is happening? This path is not clear to me. And that's what the Hierophant is giving me in reverse. It's like you're kind of carving out your path this month. You're stepping into new territory. You're stepping into something that maybe you haven't really tapped into yet. And it's your invitation to do so. If you've been called to do something new, great. November is asking you to step into the new, to break out of tradition, to shake up your routines, to really enter into new territory. But then with that Judgment card coming in reverse, it's like, yeah, and you're going to be you're being called to step into that new energy. So guess what? You're probably going to have some clapbacks of the ego, maybe some self-doubt, maybe, there's a bit of resistance to following that inner calling. Maybe you're trying to ignore the inner calling. You're like, yeah, but I feel safe in this little comfort zone that's actually slowly like making me deteriorate, but it feels safe, right? And so November, we're saying, step into the new. You may feel some clapbacks of the ego. You may feel some self-doubt, right? When you're at the beginner of something, and when you're at the beginning of something and you're learning these skills, you may feel a little bit of resistance, a little bit of fear around being the beginner, but recognize that that's not your stop sign. That's not your sign to like backtrack. It's your sign to work through the fear and to keep going. We also had the energy of the Queen of Pentacles come forward, which is kind of like that motherly working energy. And what I really feel with this is like you're leaning into the energy of nurturing yourself as you're taking these steps, as you're leaning into the energy of taking action. Maybe it's you, working on a project or you're doing something like that. It's like bringing that feminine energy forward and really ensuring that you're nurturing yourself and you're being your own biggest teammate as you walk and take these new steps in a new direction. Something around feminine energy and stepping into your empowered feminine is really going to support you as you move through taking steps in a new direction this month. So see this as your big bright white light, right? It's coming in, it's kind of blinding you. You can't really see. It's like when you just stared at the sun and you're trying to look around. I know they say to never stare at the sun, but it's like you're being forced to kind of stare at the sun this month and you're like, ow, this kind of hurts. This is really bright. But you just keep moving forward and you realize that it's actually not the sun. It's just this new energy that's coming in, and it's totally fine if you're a little blinded for a bit and you don't know what's coming forward. So that's the overall energy. Really confusing, I guess, in some ways, but at the same time, really, really powerful.
I think it will make sense once
It's
I
making
like
so much sense.
talk about what's going on.
Yeah. I'm just like,
excited.
yeah, I'm excited too, you guys. I feel like that's the energy too. The energy when you have something new coming in, like think about before you take a leap of faith. You can either see it as like very anxious, like very like overwhelming, very fearful, but you can also see it from this very like excited perspective of, oh, I'm not sure what's coming in, but I'm ready for this. I'm ready for something new. I've been preparing for this all year, right? I've had to strip away these parts of myself so that I can allow a new version of me to step forward and step in and to lean into new territory. So now that the collective theme has kind of been addressed, let's move into some of the specific themes. So we have 3 themes coming through for you. So right now I'm going to have everyone either close your eyes if you can, or just kind of get into that meditative state. And then go ahead and take a nice deep inhale in through the nose. Exhale, soften the body and release. One more time, deep inhale through the nose. Exhale, release, and arrive in the present moment. Sits bones planted on the surface beneath you, or feet on the ground, connecting to your body, to your spirit. And now as I call out these 3 numbers, see which one that your heart is kind of drawn to. The number that's really calling out and saying, ooh, I feel that pull towards it. So the first number is, of course, number 1, number 2, or third option, number 3. So which one is calling out to you? Theme 1, theme 2, or theme 3? Ladies, which one is calling out to you? All right, Maggie's got number 2. Beautiful. Sophie, which one's calling out to you? Unsure.
I mean, at first it was 1 and then it was 3. So maybe a bit
Maybe
more.
it's both. Maybe it's both. Yeah, I could definitely see that. So let's get into it. All right. So hopefully you have your number. Maybe you've got a couple that are calling out to you, but let's dive into the first theme. So my theme one, people, a lot of cards came out for this one. I thought only one came out, but then all of a sudden, like I created 3 piles and cards just kept jumping out for this theme. So theme one is all about root to rise. Now I talk about this all the time. We know it to be true. You have to root deeper down so that you can access the, knowledge, the wisdom, the creativity, the energy of your highest self. But what this theme is kind of asking us and calling for this month is the energy of leaning into grounding into the earth so that we can receive angelic wisdom and healing. The cards that came out for this was angel light. So that's a crystal of kind of like angel blessings, carnelian for a sense of creativity, flow, sexuality, femininity, and then moss agate, which is nature. So then we're getting those kind of 2 energies of the rooting down so that you can access the flow and you can also access the healing that wants to come forward. So I want you to see this as a month for you to really lean into outlets that help you to ground your energy, really ground the mind, because once again, the mind may want to clap back a lot this month as new energy is coming in, but ground yourself down so that you can receive the frequencies that are trying to come through to you. And then through that, you're going to find a creative channel. You're going to find a bit of flow, something like kind of body movement, whether that's like swimming or dancing or yoga is going to be really beneficial for you this month to move energy and to receive frequencies. Somatic work specifically, tapping, movement, breath work, all that kind of stuff is going to help you because I do see that there is going to be a big emotional release happening this month. A lot of emotion kind of wanting to flow and move throughout your body, maybe trauma leaving the body this month, things that have been stored in your womb space or in the hips, right? That emotional energy is wanting to come through. So root to rise, lean into grounding elements when the mind is getting really loud, when you're feeling overwhelmed with energy, so that those angelic frequencies can come on in. And maybe this is your invitation to also work with your angels and your spirit guides, leaning into some angelic healing. If you have not yet, met your spirit guides or tapped into archangels and ascended masters, ask for their support in processing the emotions or, the overwhelm that you feel from time to time. They're going to help you root and ground and transmute some of those things. So theme 1, root to rise, grounding into creativity, right? And that flow of emotions. So that is theme 1. Sophie, maybe that one spoke to you a bit there. And then theme 2, here we go. This, my theme 2 people, and all of us, because no matter what you picked, these are collective themes, but the 2 cards that came out for you were Ruby Zoisite and Golden Quartz, which are about following your passion, following your bliss, and then some success. So this is a month for you to lean into some passion projects, to really tune into the wisdom and the calling of your heart and to take action. It's like take inspired action this month and you're going to receive success as a result. Something about your highest self. Your highest self, I literally see someone like ringing you on the phone, like calling you. Maybe this means you're going to have physically someone's going to call you, someone's going to email you, someone's going to reach out to you to work with you. But your highest self is literally ring, like calling you up. And are you going to answer the calling? Are you going to answer the calling, right? Because we have that calling that's coming forward, but are you going to ignore it? Or are you going to pick up the phone and listen? So this month, I recommend, highest self-embodiment. How can you act as your highest self? How can you call forward the energy of your highest self and be in the energy of that? Show up every day taking action as your highest self, because this truly is a month for you. You've been jumping between 2 timelines and maybe you can feel that, but there's like one timeline that maybe is like the past version of you, maybe who you were in the past. And you kind of notice some days where you're trickling back into that. And then you have some days or some moments where you're like, hell yeah, I feel good. I feel empowered. I feel like I'm like at a new vibration. Like, why am I seeing things clearly? It's because you're bouncing between 2 timelines. So November is like where you can fully shift into that next timeline, but it requires you to listen to your heart and take action aligned with that and with your highest self. So theme 2, let's see where this month can take you. Follow into inspiration, follow into your heart calling, and success will follow. All right. Theme 3. This is a nice energy kind of coming through. And I think it's bringing in that Queen of Pentacles energy, the more nurturing side of this month, right? We have this big, huge energy coming forward. And what I am seeing for a lot of people is it's going to make your nervous system feel like out of whack. You may feel really anxious. You may feel really like, I know a lot of people are saying like it's struggling to sleep or just feeling like you kind of have really giddy energy, or maybe you're feeling the opposite of that. You're feeling drained sometimes, or you're bouncing between feeling high vibe and feeling low vibe. November is all about nervous system regulation and learning to soothe and calm the body so that you can learn how to slowly, it's like a month where you need to attune your body so that you can actually access the frequency. Maybe this looks like a little bit of focusing on your health and your wellness, right? Your mental and your physical health may be calling you out this month, saying, what are the supplements I need to take? What are the cleanses I need to do? What is something that I need to implement or remove so that I can help out my body in receiving these new frequencies that are trying to come in? What is it that I have to shift within my diet, within my routine, within, the things that I'm taking in so that I can be a more clear channel for me to up level? It's like, think about your body. It's running through like a freaking marathon this month with all the energy. What would you do to support yourself after just being thrown through the ringer? How can you help yourself out? Do you need a little bit more sleep? Do you need to do some tapping, some breath work to expand and, really kind of, be able to hold more of that light, that capacity to hold more. So my theme 3 people, it's all about learning to regulate the nervous system and really prioritize your mental and your physical well-being. I know in November, I'm going to be doing a parasite cleanse. So that's like my detox to welcome in some new energy. And I was really leaning into theme 3 as well. So we've got a lot of big things happening in November. So how can we calm ourselves down? And your cards for that were appetite, for nutrition, and leaning into, if you have any sort of like imbalances, like leaning into looking into maybe some herbal kind of things, or, working with a practitioner, and then lepidolite for anxiety and really soothing the body. I hope you guys enjoyed. Ooh, and then Maggie also just dropped in the comments, appetite is also crystal for past life. So interesting with theme 3 being all around like grounding the nervous system. Maybe there is some past life healing that wants to take place in terms of, regulating your nervous system. Maybe there's something there that's kind of calling out. And maybe you were an herbalist or a healer in a past life, and it's like time to activate that energy so that you can help out yourself and you can pass on that wisdom to others. So without further ado, Maggie, take it away with our astrological reading.
We have a big month of energy. I think October, it was like heavy at the front of the month. And then now at the end, we've been very smooth sailing, no changes in energy, no transits, but we have a lot of transits and we have a lot of like retrograde stuff, brand new chapters. Like there's really big energy transits that are in this month. It's, it's not just a lot of transits. I mean, there's I think 9 things we're going to be talking about today, which is a lot of things, but it's also just really, really big energy. And we are in Scorpio season. Scorpio season itself is a very big energy season. It's like that death, transformation, change season. So it's to be expected. And then there's just a lot on top of that. So starting right out the gate, like I said, we had about, a week and a half with no major transits. And then November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, we're just like hit with 3 in a row. So it's like, everything's nice and smooth sailing. Then it's going to be like bam, bam, bam. So November 1st, we have the Scorpio new moon. Like I have said, try and keep this to November 1st or like the day before and after, when that Scorpio new moon energy is really, really sharp, whereas some of these other transits can go on for the whole month. It can go on for months. at a time, like 6 months at a time. The one transit we're going to be talking about is going to be going on for 20 years. So, just keep in mind the time periods with all of these. But Scorpio new moon is right on the day. This is a great time to set intentions with where in your life you want to transform and change. This is big transformative energy, especially through the emotions. So new moons are always like planning and intention and setting goals. So it's sort of like emotionally, how do you want to transform over the next 2 weeks, the next month, 6 months, and a year, right? Those are all the phases we're working with this moon. This is a great time to do any cord cutting rituals to really just end off that last chapter, cut out those things that are no longer serving you before you start this like brand new year, because it's a whole year until you have another Scorpio new moon. So what cord cutting rituals, what release rituals could be really powerful? It's a great time to work with shadow work, the dark feminine, and any other like energies within yourself you're looking to transform. It's a great time for like witchiness and psychicness. Like the veil is very thin during this time. It's also a great time to set intentions around your energetic loyalty. So like where your energy is going and like the habits that you have in that way. Like what are you loyal to in your life? Person, place, things. A great time to set intentions with secrets, desires, and change. November 2nd, we have Mercury entering Sagittarius. Mercury is your planet of the mind and communication. And Sagittarius is very honest. It's very blunt. So honesty will be at the forefront of your communication, but also other people's communication. So if you find people being very blunt with you, very honest with you, and you're not like, it's not your favorite thing, or it's not something that you like, love, just realize that this is just a phase. This is just where Mercury is right now. You can, with this information, try not to be like brutally honest when it's unnecessary, because there's a lot of like very fleeting feelings with Sagittarius. There's a lot of like impulsivity with Sagittarius. So like Sagittarius is, yes, they can be very honest, but sometimes they're like honest about feelings that could have just been like processed internally, if that makes sense, rather than like creating the drama. So really make sure that you're being self-aware, but also realize that in the same way, a lot of true feelings can come out during this time. And if there's something you really need to get off your chest, this could be a great time to do it. Your mind may also fall into comparison mode during this time. Sagittarius is very like the grass is always greener mentality. So gratitude practices are important to keep it like grounded in like your path. And it's like so easy to romanticize what other people have and within your mind. So just, working with that mind to keep it grateful for your path. It can also lead to exaggeration or a tendency to overshare. But the great thing is your mind will crave like learnings, especially about other cultures, other ways of doing things. So if you find yourself falling into these things, leaning instead into learning and feeling like you're sharpening that mind and you're expanding the mind and like talking with people who feel very expansive to you and allowing yourself to explore in that way can be very, very positive. Then on November 3rd, Mars enters Leo. Like I said, it's just bam, bam, bam. This is action, action, action. Whenever Mars moves into a fire sign, it's like, let's go. It's like, let's go, go, go. Because Mars is our planet of action. So this is like action for you being like big leaps into like self-improvement, into leadership, into like, I put for the plot moments, like things in your life that are going to make good stories, because Leos are storytellers. This is a time that you can take the main stage. This is a time that you can act a little selfishly, as long as it's not like really hurting other people. This is a time to like put yourself at the forefront of your actions. It's really important that you're very direct and self-assured with your actions, because that's very Leo. And when you're out of alignment, you will feel that ego getting away of these big actions, of these big plans, because Leos, their egos love to get in the way. So you will see this sort of like overshadowing, like you might have these big plans, these big goals, you're trying to make big leaps, and that ego's coming in like, it's not the time or whatever. But a lot of the time when Mars is in Leo, it's like, this is the time. So work with this big action and for this big action. This is a time where passion for life should be very high, and you're allowed to indulge in that. Then we have a little bit of a break. We head forwards to November 11th when Venus enters Capricorn. So this is going to be a time when love feels very grounded and linear. You may feel a drive or a want for like traditional paths or a need to be in a relationship. Whenever Venus is in Capricorn, it's the joke that it's like cuffing season. Like people might be more likely to get engaged, get into relationships this time. But sometimes it can also be like settling for less, because with that Capricorn energy, you're so drawn and wanting to like fall into tradition and into a traditional path. So just make sure that doesn't mean that if you get engaged or if you're getting married or if you get into a relationship that it's not a good relationship, but just, ask yourself like, am I doing this because I want to, or am I doing this because I feel like I should? That's a really important thing to ask yourself during Venus and Capricorn. But it's also a great time to strengthen specifically business partnerships, because this is a very like business minded sign, and Venus is all about relationships. Venus is all about finances, and so is Capricorn. So finances and love take on a more serious tone, but we may feel a push to work harder in these areas and see gain from that as well. So it's kind of like pushing for that abundance, working hard for that abundance, but seeing great, great results most of the time from that, as long as you're doing things because you want to and because you feel a passion and not just because you think it's what you're meant to do. Then we move on to November 15th. Saturn is going direct in Pisces. Saturn went into retrograde back in June. If I'm being honest with you guys, I prefer when Saturn is in retrograde. I think a lot of the time people feel like, yay, a planet's going out of retrograde, but I love when Saturn's in retrograde, but that's okay. Saturn is our planet of lessons and hard truths, so when it's in retrograde, we're more likely to see sped up karma and payoffs for the lessons we learned when it was indirect. But now that it's direct again, it's more about like the learnings and overcoming these hurdles and like facing these big life lessons and challenges and things like that. These lessons, because it is in Pisces, are going to be in spirituality, in oneness, in not losing yourself and your identity in that oneness, in other people, in the people around you. It can also be lessons in endings and release. We are sort of like ending a chapter as Saturn moves through Pisces, and we'll be entering like a whole new chapter of lessons and things when it gets into Aries, because that is that bright new energy. So you might see some things falling away at this time, but they're things that you have to learn are okay to fall away. Look over the past 4 to 5 months, especially to like set off this Saturn indirect, and just see what was highlighted for you. Like see what you can really learn from, see what payoffs you had happen, see where you grew, see where karma sort of aligned itself, because there still can be huge transformation when Saturn is direct. And the more you can learn and like look at these lessons and face them like an old friend rather than like push against them or avoid them, the more you will transform, and the more you'll also build up good karma for next year when Saturn goes into retrograde again. Then we have the Taurus full moon on the same day. This is comfort, values, abundance, nature, grounding. This is all of those like good, yummy Taurus energies where you're just feeling like so indulgent and like comfy. This is a great time to reflect on This is a great time to reflect on the abundance of the past 2 weeks, the past month, the past 6 months, and the past year, because Taurus really is about that abundance. We have a self-care night, gratitude for your body, gratitude for the care that you take for yourself and your space. This is nature walks or getting out into nature somehow, or an abundance or money manifestation ritual, or like gratitude ritual. Once again, the full moon on the day or like the day or before or after, try and keep it tight with that moon for like the best effects if you're going to do like a ritual or something. Then we have November 19th, which is my anniversary. Joel and I's anniversary. And it is Pluto entering Aquarius. I just thought that was funny when I was writing it down. I was like, this is an important day for me and an important day for the world. It's literally like a whole new chapter. So we've been talking for the past year, ever since the podcast started, really, as Pluto has been like dipping her little toe into Aquarius and then retrograding back into Capricorn and then dipping her toe in again and then retrograding back into Capricorn. But no more Capricorn as of November 19th. This is a whole new chapter. Pluto spends 15 to 20 years in one sign. So we are finally, for the last time, fully stepping into Pluto in Aquarius. This is a new age, not just for you, but for the world around you. Because like I said, this is the next 15 to 20 years. Pluto is your sign of change and transformation. And it's been in this energy of collective transformation through like the patriarchy, through hard work, through individualism, through like corporate energy, through tradition, through like that expectation, following that expectation, and through really just that like nose to the grindstone hard work energy. That's how our society has been transforming and changing over the past 15 to 20 years. But now we're moving into Pluto in Aquarius. And this is a time to transform through community, but also individuality and like philosophy. It's a time to transform by finding your place, your individual place in community, and embracing your uniqueness and differences. It's a time to demand collective change. Like I said, this is that shift from hardworking, independent Capricorn into more like collective change, underdog change, bringing people who were lower and bringing them up. It's about like finding your place, embracing yourself, and changing through uniqueness rather than this sort of like tradition and expectation. I think it's going to feel very, very freeing. And I'm very excited that we're fully getting into it. I think it's been dipping its toes in for the past couple of years. And we've seen, I think, a little bit of a shift where people are like, we need to change. We can't keep moving forwards the way we've been moving forwards. And I think we're just going to be embracing this more and more now that on November 19th, we're finally moving in to this energy. Then on November 21st, we have the sun entering Sagittarius. So Sagittarius season, just really quickly, because this is just like your traditional season. So this is like travel, adventure, exploration, honesty, culture, expansion, carefreeness, but it can also be escapism, being blunt, that grass is always greener. This is just like a collective energy of that. We do have Mercury in the same sign, which is really nice for the first 4 days of Sagittarius season. But then on November 25th, we have Mercury retrograde beginning in Sagittarius. So when Karlie was talking about like looking at the sun and having to like be forced to like look at it and be like sort of made to like face it, I think it's really this like Sagittarius and Mercury combination, because at first it's going to feel really like sun on your face breezy, and then once Mercury retrograde begins in Sagittarius, it sort of takes the shadow side of Sagittarius and brings it to the forefront in our minds, because Mercury and the sun don't always match up, but the fact that they are, and then Mercury is going into retrograde, really does show us that there's a bit of a pushback on this season itself, which is too bad because I love Sagittarius season and I love being like carefree and traveling and like I love that energy, but it might be a little bit of a harder Sagittarius season for us this time around because we do have that pushback on the season itself. So escapism will be at the forefront. So just be wary of that. Like your mind in communication, in the way that it works, your mind itself is going to be more prone to that escapism. That's probably also where this like third card energy is coming from, where it's like that anxiety, that nervous system might be a bit higher. You are going to be like thinking that you just need that next thing, or that things will be better like when you get there, right? It's romanticizing these things in your mind and being like, things will be better then, but you need to make things better now. If that makes sense, like things and external things can't change how you feel within. It can also be over romanticizing other things in your mind and then falling into comparison. Like, look at that person, they're doing so well. And you're comparing yourself because you're over romanticizing that person. That grass is always greener complex. There's this feeling here when Mercury goes into retrograde of like searching and searching and searching for something external instead of turning within. People may also be more harsh, be more blunt, thinking they're being honest, but miscommunicating something. Sometimes they are being honest, but I think a lot of the time when we go into that retrograde, it's going to be like impulsive communication that isn't really true. It was more of a fleeting feeling. Like it was more like a fleeting annoyance, and they decided to speak on it rather than just like process it and let it pass. So this is a really important time when Mercury is in retrograde to A, think before you speak, and B, not to take things other people are saying so seriously. And that's it. We end with a lovely Mercury retrograde that feels like it's going to be a little bit harder than normal because it does match up with that sun. It is, staring straight into that sun and having to come to terms with it. So that's what I have for the retrograde for the month. And Sophie, it's all up to you.
All to me. Let's just, as always, take a deep breath in and just that was a lot of energy, a lot of information. So just take a deep breath in. I'm sure that you paused and you wrote some notes down, or maybe if you want to just highlight or circle the things that stood out to you most, or you want to lean into that resonated with you most, that were more alive for you, please lean into that so that you can, lean into it properly. So my plan is I'm going to take you through the themes, and I have got one invitation for you as a collective. So I'm going to give this one invitation as a collective, all right? So you've got the full moon and the new moon rituals and intentions that Maggie gave you. So look out to it for in our ritual page, theritual.co, and we will, I'm sure, be hosting either a full moon or a new moon ritual over there, and we'll be sharing more information. But take what Maggie said about the moon rituals, lean into them in your own way. But my invitation, and then I'll get into some practices for the different themes. My invitation as a collective, as a community, as we move through this big energy, move through all of the different transits, move through all the different energies, and really give ourselves this permission to really lean into it and expand with it and grow with it, is to immerse yourself into this community. Join our community, join the Ritual Co. Make sure that you are subscribed to our podcast. Come join us on our monthly live rituals. We also have a private community space, our Aura Elevation private community spaces there. Come in there and start to bring that community alive and really start prepare ourselves for this community aspect that is coming at the end of November, but also to lean on community as you elevate, as you grow, as you lean in fully into all these different energies and different aspects of spiritual healing and spiritual elevation, right? So that's my one invitation as a collective, is to decide to really immerse yourself into this community or a community, to be supported and to be elevated in a way that your soul, your heart really wants to be elevated to. Okay? Theme one. My theme one is because I did choose theme one, and see when Karlie was saying it, I was like, don't say too much because I've got so much to say. And when you said body movements, and becoming a channel through that body movements, I was like, oh my God, you just took the words out my mouth, because it's so funny. I didn't tell you guys, I don't think I've told you guys yet, but I'm launching a workshop this week, basically around this whole aspect of like tapping into your body, moving your body, dancing, embodiment, to become that open channel to creativity, to wisdom, to ideas. So my invitation for you all, theme one people, is to really tap into your body this month, to move with it, to ground into it, to become that open channel to ideas, to creativity, to next steps, to where it is that you're meant to go, to what it is that you're desiring to create, and really ground into your body, but also expand with your body. Let it move through you. Let the creativity move through you. Let the elevation move through you like it wants to move through you. And that's what I have recently, or have been experiencing this past year, and I'm bringing it to a workshop. because I really experienced the transformation or just like the shifts and the shifts, the ideas, the confidence that comes alive as well when you come into yourself and allow it to move through you. So that's your invitation for theme one, people, is to ground into your body. If you want to take it out in nature, like I was having visions of you all out in nature, dancing with the trees, dancing in the water, and really allowing yourself to ground into your body, but also rise and open yourself up, like allow your body to be this portal, this channel of creativity, this channel of ideas, of wisdom, whatever it is, right? Theme number two, following passion and success. I'm excited. This also lands for me too, because I feel like I'm in a season. I actually sent a voice note to the girls last week. I feel like I'm in a season of like, right, okay, enough of the bullshit. We want to do this, so let's start fucking doing it, you know? So what is an action step that you've maybe not been allowing yourself to do? Or yeah, like what's something that you really want to just dive into? For example, this workshop that I'm deciding that I'm putting out there. You know, it's something that's alive for me, it's something I'm passionate about. So can you just decide to be like, okay, let's just rip the band-aid off and take the fucking step, right? So what step have you maybe been sitting on? You're just sitting on the step. Can you stand up with us? Just stand up with us right now and just take that step this month. Whether it is launching a workshop, whether it is deciding to move out of your current apartment, whether it is deciding to give it real life
That
examples
was
here.
awfully specific. Not at all what Sophie's going to be leaning into.
Whether it is, I'm trying to get like, specific examples for us. Whether it is launching your course, whether it
Whether
is
it is
starting a
leaving
podcast,
for South America.
whatever this action step is, or maybe you don't know what this action step is just now, but tap into what is a passion that's alive for you that you wanna give yourself permission this month to start taking action on, and can you decide now with us that yes, okay, I'm going to take that action and I'm going to come into the community space in Divine Gospel Girls and the Ritual Well, and I'm going to use this space as an accountability to really elevate me, to really expand me, to really push me into what I am capable of, what it is that I want to step into. But this month is about deciding that no one's going to take the action for you, but you and your higher self, and you get to devote and commit to that. It's a decision, and it's yeah, stand up and take that step. Okay. Theme number three, nervous system regulation. And this cleanse, this nurturing, I'm really leaning into, yeah, it's so funny. I literally just had a full clear out of my wardrobes yesterday. So I'm in this energy of like cleansing. I got this. I was going to show you guys. You guys can't see on the podcast, but I have this rainbow sage. Yeah, so for theme number three is all about cleansing or whether it's cleansing your body through your nutrition, getting some sage, whether it's cleansing your wardrobes, doing some sort of act of cleansing. That's your invitation for this month. And to create that space within your energy, within yourself, within your mind, to prepare yourself for the transformation that's about to come forward for you, and really allowing yourself to ground into your body, coming back to the grounding into your body through this cleansing. That's why I got some sage. I actually cleansed like my entire wardrobe, all the clothes that I kept. I cleansed all of the clothes I kept, and then cleansed all of my room, cleansed my entire body. But yeah, that's your invitation for this month. It's like, okay, like where am I being invited to cleanse myself or my space or my business or whatever it is, and how can I commit to that this month? How can I commit to that this month? And we would love to hear what shifts for you. We would love to hear what you are committing to. We would love to hear the ways that you're grounding into your creativity. We would love to hear the ways that you are taking action in your passions and in your success. And we would love to hear how you're cleansing and regulating your body, your mind, your well-being. We would love to hear it. We would love to keep you accountable. And remember, the collective invitation is coming into our community. Make sure you're following us. Make sure you are subscribed to the podcast. We're really immersing into the energy that we have here, the space that we have here, the opportunities that we have here. And yeah, have the most amazing November. And we will see you next month for another forecast.
Bye.
Bye.